All right, welcome everyone to AAC in the Cloud 2024 Day 2. We have Brigitta here with us. She's going to be presenting on AAC assessment results in the first year of Hungarian Angelman Clinic. And I'll let her take the floor and we'll answer questions at the end. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. My full name is Brigitta Miksztai-Rethey, but it's also in Hungarian so complex that most of my colleagues and families I work with only call me Brigi with AAC, so I'm fine with that. And actually wanted to tell a few sentences about myself, that I have a degree in being an ICT teacher, but I never worked in that since before I started to work. I got involved in some projects, how to help multiple disabled people with complex communication needs to use a computer. And well, I'm stuck there, so I learned everything what was possible in Hungary about AAC, and I started to work on that field. And I will talk about what I was partly doing in the last year, but I have to start with telling who are the kids, individuals we are working with in the Angelman Clinic and what is the Angelman Clinic. So I will talk a bit about the Hungarian Angelman Foundation and about the Bethesda Children's Hospital. And then I will tell about this program a bit and about what I have seen, what I have learned in that, and what kind of things we have found in that 1 year. So first of all, I need to tell what is Angelman syndrome. Angelman syndrome is a genetic disorder according to the chromosome 15, and it has very different symptoms depending on which part of that chromosome is damaged. Some of the families have really different needs and different problems, and also the kids are very different, and also their adult life will be very different according to what kind of damages the chromosome got. But every child who is born with Angelman syndrome has delayed development, has problems with speech and balance, and most of them, I think all of them I met, have seizures. So those are health issues and learning issues the families have to deal with. And another thing the families have to deal with, that the kids, as I put in the slide, one of the pictures from the Hungarian Angelman Foundation site, they are always or almost always laughing, smiling. So people think even if they are in pain or scared, that they are happy. And that makes also the nonverbal communication really hard when we are trying to work with them. So a bit detailed about Angelman syndrome is that they are all need special education since intellectual disabilities. To the symptoms, it said they have no speech or little speech. I would say I have met a lot of kids in Hungary, so around 30, 40 kids and adults, and none of them had more than 10 words that they could use. So no speech is really a big barrier for them to get involved. Then they have trouble with walking, moving, balancing. I would say some kids can walk. A few kids can be led by hand and with help, and other kids need really, really big help to move from one place to another. I already mentioned the smiling and laughing behavior. A lot of parents told me that they already know what kind of laughing the kid does when the kid is scared or stressed. The kids I work with more, I also see the difference in the laughing. But when somebody who doesn't know anything about Angelman syndrome meets them, they have the feeling these kids are happy, they are okay. Also in a situation like getting dragged in a hospital between a lot of strange people dressed as doctors. No, they are scared and shocked, just they are laughing. And a lot of families have also big problems with the kids that they only need a few hours of sleep. So most families talk about they are being extra tired because the kid doesn't need as much sleep as they do. And from the other symptoms, which a lot of kids have, I only want to highlight the odd behaviors like hand flapping, arm uplifted while walking. So their movements are strange and they are really, really lead the attention to their moving. So earlier, a lot of families had problems with going out with kids with Angelman syndrome because of their strange walking, strange behavior, strange laughings. And that was one of the points the Hungarian Angelman Foundation pointed out, that they want people to understand their kids. So I just put in one of the kids I'm working with. I'm working with him regularly, and what I'm doing with working with him, I try to introduce him new things, try to play with him, let him have good feelings, let him have the needed time to learn new things, and using methods he can do. So when I'm communicating with him, when I'm working with him, I try not to speak or try to use only a few words just to show him ways to communicate what he can copy from my behavior. If we watch him, we see that he almost always has his mouth open. They really like to test things with their mouths. They really like to try to lick things. It is kind of sensory issues that most of them have. Most of them like strange structures like balloons or small kids' chewy toys and things like sound making games. So when I introduced him a GoTalk as a communication tool, first I just took his favorite toys and recorded the sounds of his favorite toys, put on the pictures of his favorite toys and let him play with it just to learn to push the buttons and have a good feeling. So that's what I have in this video here, just to see him a bit playing and see these symptoms that we were talking about.
Again.
He doesn't know how he gets the sound back because it's not the usual game he has. So he needed a few times practice till he got the point. He wanted the sound, he knew the sound, he wanted to play, but that was how we started to introduce him AAC devices, and that shows how we can help a kid with Angelman syndrome to learn. One very important thing with them that they are hard to focus on things, and they are almost never ready to do things we want them to force in, but they are ready to do things what they want to, what they are interested in. So I usually try to use methods that fits in to their needs, their interests, and try to find out games which is a bit different from what they are doing. So we have a situation to talk about, but not the usual game what they are used to play. So just move them a bit to the way I want him, I need him to accept the communication way, which people understand, the communication device they need. So that's about the Angelman syndrome first, and as next, the Hungarian Angelman Syndrome Foundation, where the foundation is there for supporting families and professionals since 2014. Their main goals were to gather information, share information, and build a community where these parents trust to bring their kids together. So yeah, as you can see on this picture, their motto is also being together like anyone else, that they do not have to fear to bring their kids to this community because their kids will be understood there, their kids can play freely there, feel safe there. By the way, that picture was taken on one of their programs with, as you can see, a lot of families there, and also some volunteers and some professionals. So I will talk a bit about what the foundation is doing to support these families. Well, in the last more than 10 years, they got contact with 55 families who have kids and adults with Angelman syndrome. The kids now, the earliest when they are diagnosed is around 1 year old. And the oldest individual they know about is now 33 years old. We are almost sure there are also older ones, but since earlier it wasn't checked for people if they have Angelman syndrome, they were just counted as strange autistic or whatever mental disabled people. So a lot of from the olders will never have the diagnosis. If they are doing different occasions for families to support them or gatherings, they got usually 10, 15 families to take part, and they also have online contact with another 10, 15 families, and they work with a large group of professionals. There are doctors, different AAC specialists, IT specialists, teacher, kindergarten teacher. In the big group who they are working with, I started to talk about the Angelman Syndrome Foundation because I also started to work with them before I started to work with the hospital. So I can tell how I got involved to this foundation, and that will I tell in the next slides. They want to spread knowledge about AAC and Angelman syndrome. So They go to different occasions, usually on like Rare Diseases Day or Kids Day organizations, and we bring their games about AAC or non-speaking options. Like this game on that picture is saying, get some candy from us without talking. And we provided some helping materials. And yeah, of course, with kids, we were more understanding and we made it hard for parents when they tried. Or picture-based games. What can the picture which we are trying to teach the kids mean? Can they find out without being written on it? So we just try to make the professionals and parents and families who are interested in it more open to get a view what the situation is where their kids are in, how hard it is, what we want from those kids. And that really helps a lot for the parents, as we see from the feedbacks. Another thing is the Angelman family picnics. This picture was taken a few weeks ago. Yes, I have the same shirt on with my kitty with coffee. And that was taken a few weeks ago on the 10th family picnic they organized. I usually go to work with kids like Angelman syndrome kids in funny picture t-shirts, because it is a good way to see the kids' reaction if they understand the picture what I have. One of the Angelman syndrome kids I'm working with, when I was visiting him, he was just coming to me, pointed at the coffee pot, at the cat on my body, and went in the kitchen and tried to make me a coffee. Another kid, every time when he saw me on that day, was meowing. The parents were laughing at the end, and I was just, okay, I am very happy. Now I know the kid understands pictures. So I can be sure to work with pictures with that kid. Another thing is they try to support the families with doing daycare programs on Saturday. In a lot of school years, they provided the families with monthly programs where specialists, university students, and other volunteers professionally took care of the kids, so the families could organize programs with the siblings or without kids, and they had the kid with Angelman syndrome in a safe place. And that can be really a big help, because it is really hard to find a babysitter for a kid like that. So that was a really helping idea from the parents of the foundation to get the families together and give them something through the foundation which can help them. This program was always organized in Budapest, so the families who live in different parts of the country could plan a daily trip to Budapest and didn't have to have the kid with Angelman syndrome with them, but they could spend some time in the capital and go out, maybe shopping or in a cinema or whatever they wanted. And that helped a lot of families I know. And another program is that they support AAC programs, like teaching the families and also accept professionals to be there to how to do the assessments, like how to take the questionnaire of the communication matrix, or workshops where they can make the AAC tools like the daily routine schedules or the choosing of programs or giving feedback about their feelings or their needs. So in these workshops, they say we can print out the things, we can do the laminating, we can do the cutting, we can make the booklets you need. So if you have the material together and you do not know how to finish it because you do not have such things at home, then you can come to a workshop, get some help there and get that done. And they also had programs to support families at home, to do the assessment, to do the making the needed AAC tools and give suggestions concentrated on their family in their home to support them. That was the program that I started to work with the foundation. And it was like 3-4 weeks times we talked with the families online or personal, and we did with the family the assessment. We talked about their goals and we made their needs matching to do what they want, and how we can support the kids to move on in their communication. We found that some kids can accept pictures better than objects because they eat objects. Some kids do not interested in pictures. Some kids like to use gestures. So these were also things we had to find out by every individual kid. And the other partner is the Bethesda Children's Hospital. That's a hospital founded 150 years ago, and it's maintained by the church, and it has really a key role in the health and social education program in Hungary. It's a hospital who has a pastor and teacher and also mental health team to support the families. It has some special wards like rehabilitation, National Burn Center, or they are the hospital in Hungary who do the special gen therapy for children with SMA. So this is one of the biggest hospitals. I started to work there a few years ago as a part-time job to give them an AAC kind of help in the different wards, like in the rehabilitation, in the neurology, in the early kids education, and in the intensive care units, because there they get kids who part-time or in other lives cannot talk. So if they got in kids where they see that they are getting extra mental problems because of not being able to communicate, then I'm called there to help out. And I'm working with them in really different kids, from cerebral palsy till accidents. So that's a very interesting job, how to support them with AAC and how to help them. Just to have a view about the hospital, it has more buildings. The orange one is where I work more because there is the rehabilitation ward on the first floor, and the second floor, the neurology. So I'm most of the time there. And I really feel that it is a friendly and open place. A lot of workers are Christians and really try to give their heart in the work too. So that's not only on their web pages, but also how they work. And just put in some pictures. One of the pictures is taken on the neurological ward. It was at the Christmas time, so they really do everything what they can to give the kids presents and let them make the celebrations. If they have to be in a hospital in times like that, they have different kind of therapies like dogs or mini horses. So a lot of strange things can walk around in that hospital. And yeah, it is sometimes hard because these are very old buildings, so not really suited for the modern medical needs, but we will do the best we can to fit the needs of the kids, like the playgrounds, and go down to the playgrounds whenever we can. That was Easter celebration from the rehabilitation station with the mini horse and Easter egg hunt. And as it is visible, we do not care how hard it is. We really try to give the kids all the kind of programs and communication options that they can have. And there are, from the mini horse and dogs, also clowns and teens who come in to play games with the kids in the hospital. So they really get in a lot of points, communication help too. And I work with every colleague who is ready to accept the ways of AAC as we know it. And it is getting more and more colleagues who meet a kid and write on their papers that they should come to me since they have problems with speech understanding or expressive communication, and they need some support in that. And in the Angelman clinic, it was really clear that since none of the kids have enough speech, that I will meet all the kids who come to the Angelman clinic. Actually, the Angelman clinic is a 2-day health service where the kids meet a lot of doctors, got a lot of tests. So usually the family come to the rehabilitation station and get from one doctor to another, one building to another. So usually we have extra stressed parents, which means these easy to excite kids are also extra stressed. So I try not to make as many tests as I could do, because I try to concentrate on them, to just have some free time and just free talking when they meet me, because that helps them more. So they really meet rehabilitation specialists, psychotherapists, dentists, dermatologists, diabetologists. What helps me a lot, they get a developmental psychology test with 2 professionals. They meet the social worker of the hospital to see if they need any extra help in getting in the law or organization or founding things. And they all get a consultation with me. In that 1 year, we met 23 families. It were 7 occasions. The youngest kid I met was 20 months old, and the oldest was 22 years old, which is very important. That usually the hospital takes kids till 18, but in this program, they try to help also the families who already have older kids. Usually families come with a lot of medical questions and extra interested in some appointments. They are usually happy that they can get all these appointments without needing an extra date for every appointment. So most of the families come with at least 2 adults to be able to control the things, to control the kids, to pay attention on the doctors. I just put here a picture of the neurological ward game room. I met a lot of kids there because families fared better there than at a hospital bed. Or in the summertime, with some families, I had the consultation also in the garden. So I usually do not use an assessment room. I ask them where they want to go, where they feel already safe, where the kid already feels safe. The protocol has changed a bit in the 1 year. It is now that every 2 days we get 3 kids. So for 2 days, 3 kids, and maybe one can be over 18, but nothing else is extra wanted. They can come and can ask for some special appointments, or can say that we have seen the doctor a week ago, so we do not want to that one, but usually they accept all the options they can get. And we came to the point that it is better to have the AAC assessment on the second day when the kids and the families are less stressed, learn the place, know where things are. I make sure the kid is not in a new room, and I make sure to make not the usual hospital reports, but give them a longer feedback, concentrating on the questions they had, and giving them more suggestions how to have the kids. Also provide them, if needed, with links and other options to have the families to move on in the AAC support. So I usually have a lot of toys with me, like balloons and other things, but I do not start with talking with the kids. So I usually start to talk with the parents and let the kid behave. And I ask the parents about what is their most really hurting problem about everyday life and communication. Then talk with them about what I can have them with AAC, what is expressive communication, what is receptive communication, what can visual support mean and help the families. And while we are talking and I'm suggesting games to the kids, I point out what I see from the speech understanding of the kids. I cannot do a whole test with a really stressed, really tired kid. So I usually point out things like he's not paying attention when I am talking, but he is just turning around when I open my backpack. So he must not pay attention on speech. Or when you are talking to the kid, you are using gestures. So guess you actually know that the kid doesn't pay attention on speech. Or like you are talking in 4 sentences. That can be too hard for the kid. See, if I'm only saying two words, then the kid is paying attention on me. So that's one thing where I can give them some ideas and some hints. Then we fill out the communication matrix, concentrating on what level the kid is, what would be the next level, and how they could achieve that. We talk about visual support and why that could help. And then I send them feedbacks with links and suggestions just about visual support. One mom was telling me that she's not happy with that when the kids want something, just drags her to the place where he wants to do the things. And I was just saying, in her eyes, in the kid's eye, you are doing the same. You just jump on the kid and drag the kid to the next program. So maybe if you would do something else, the kid would copy something else. So what I have found is that most of the families were happy to get AAC consultation there. And most came actually with points where they would love to be helped. Some wanted behavioral support help. Some were extra interested about how to help in the expressive communication of the kid. And only a few were asking about how to have the kids' speech understanding, but that's because some of the kids are really have extra good speech understanding and not all have problems with that. From the 23 families, 14 got already AAC support earlier, and 8 from them only through the Angelman Foundation. Only 4 families got AAC at school, and I met 3 families who also paid private for AAC specialists to help them to support their communication. So I think in Hungary, we really, really need more options for the kids and families to get AAC support. And most is what is missing, that the families still do not see why they need AAC. They see the nice things told, but when they just buy a program or a tool, they do not know how to use it, so they put it aside. And without the help, how they can build it in their own life, they just cannot move on. And that's why the mostly free talking with me helps them. Most families said that I gave them good ideas, I gave them new inspiration to try it again. They see what they did wrong and they want to try it again. And they ask me if they can consult with me later. So in detail, I try to give in the feedbacks options and ideas how to make tricks and sabotage situations with the kids to find out if they really understand speech, like telling the kid that I will give you a ball and give them a slingy. And if the kid is not happy with that, then the kid was also listening to the speech. I suggest them options in their own life. I tell them options about the visual support, what they could use. I can tell them after I am playing an hour with the kid, if I would start with symbols, photos, or objects. And I just help them and warn them what is too complex for the kid from them communication, how to help the kid to stay calm with their communication to the kid. About the expressive communication, we get by all kids a communication matrix. And just to see how different Angelman syndrome is, these two matrices are almost the same level. One of the kids is not even 2, and the other one is 13 years old. And these were the 2 best matrices I have seen from these 23 kids. Both of these kids have really, really good speech understanding. So it really makes a big difference if we really see the level of the speech understanding to get their expressive communication go forward. And actually, all kids were at least on the 4th level of communication, so they were all using some kind of conventional communication, but of course, without speech, concrete and abstract communication, they were not able to use. So what we see is some kids who tried AAC without professional help, they have some words and functions on level 6, but they are missing things in front of it. And I talk with the parents why I suggest them to step back a bit and start again to help the kids to learn why we want them to use that kind of expressive communication. And an interesting story is this family. They have both kids with Angelman syndrome. That's the oldest kid. The two kids have, I think, 4 years difference. And when I was asking the mom at the beginning where she feels she needs more help, where she's stuck, she said that she has it hard to understand the younger child. And I was thinking a lot why. And then I found out because she has more complex communication needs. She wants to tell her stories. She wants to be involved in things that she cannot find out without good communication with the kid. So that was really an interesting case for me, that if a child likes to sit alone, do his own things, and doesn't really want to communicate because that's his routine, he will not use more complex communication methods because he gets what he wants and he's happy with that. But if that child who is more social, want to tell stories, want to involve people in games, she gets angry, she gets frustrated because she gets into a situation where she cannot solve her needs. And that's what mom says, that she's more stressed than her brother and she needs help there. So in the feedbacks and suggestions, I usually suggest them that they should pay attention that the kids are mirroring them. And if they change their methods, the kid will change too. And if they want the kid to be more patient, they should use daily routine at least to the level, we are doing this now, and then we are doing the next thing. Because that's the first step to get the kids be able to wait, to be sure they get what they want. And how long they have to wait, or how long they still have before something what they do not want starts. Yes, I suggest them visual support and timers, different timers according to their level. And if I can, I also try that out with them, but that usually doesn't work in the hospital. Some parents also ask for options in iPad games, or what kind of things they should do with the kids. So I suggest them some games, which partly I can also try out with them to check if the kid is really ready to understand drawn pictures or photos. And that helps a lot, telling the parents what level of AAC tools they should look for. And I ask them if they read stories, if they read books together, if the kid pays attention on it. And that also helps a lot where to move. In a lot of cases, I suggest them to make a daily routine with their everyday objects. And yes, they need a lot of sensory tools, so we put in the sensory tools in their objects too, because that's very important for the kids. They do a lot of sensory things, and they need to know when they get their sensory things back or what will happen with them. And what can we do after that all? Well, we found out that the kids who already have AAC materials could be prepared for the next run at the Angelman clinic. So we will make photo-based and picture-based helping tools for them to know what will come, suggest the families AAC interventions. I try to go on the Angelman Foundation programs, and my colleagues support them too. I use those picnics and programs as a consultation. Last time on the picnic, many families who I met at the hospital came and said, oh, since we have talked, that and that and that changed. And I was like, wow, that's really good that you are coming and telling me and ask questions what the next step is. Help families to get the needed tools, connect them to the Angelman Foundation workshops. If they need, we suggest them loan offices or web pages where they can buy the things they needed, and try to find ways to support families in other way. Like for one kid, we made a communication board to start the communication on his iPad. And this picture I got on Messenger a few weeks ago. The kid was calling me on a video call, and mom took away the phone and was apologizing. And after she put down the phone, she sent me this pic. Okay, I think my son wanted to invite you to us. So I'm really happy when the kids are trying to explain me that they want to meet me again. And yeah, for this kid, we made some rules how we can play together if I visit them and what we are doing together. And that's the last thing I want to show, that he has a communication method in his iPad. And I put them here for him, this program. And since every time when we ask the kid what he wants to go do, he's like, I want to train. So I'm only ready to accept it as last step. And I tell him what we will all do before that. And we can work. We can play together. He can suggest me some games. We can work together on the games I brought him. I want to drink a coffee, which actually means I talk with the parents, while he can have a snack, and then he can go. And then we are just clicking and checking. And he knows he will get his train ride, but not before all the other things. And we have visual supports for other things, like I want him to work with communication. So when he suggests a game, I want him to tell me how we want to play with that game today. I'm not ready to play every time the same thing with a ball. So sometimes I want to play football, sometimes I want to play throw out, sometimes I want to play hiding the ball. So we have to agree and keep on the game for a while. He was a kid who put me all the games he had in 30 seconds. So we agreed 10 minutes at least before I'm ready to accept a new game. So these are the kind of solutions and options I suggest to the families. And I'll finish my presentation. So I'm ready to listen to questions.
Awesome. I don't think there were any questions on there, Brigitta, on the Slack feed, but that was amazing. Thank you for everything and appreciate it.
I really like to work with those kids because they are really loving, caring, open kids. And actually, if I can find out what they are interested in, they are ready to work with.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your knowledge, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.